interesting session. Now I want to ask, how would our professors from Germany and from UK, how would you respond, Professor Sun's different comments? I want to know what's your opinion about. Thank you.
Education standards are absolutely vital for the future of the profession. One of the problems that we have here is that the PSA, the Professional Standards Authority, which is now been given the role of regulating acupuncture, is, well, to put it quite bluntly, the head of the Health and Care Professions Council, who's a very important guy, is one of the main regulators, and it was the regulator that was originally designated as our regulation. In the committee that we had, amongst the 30 people, in front of the representative of the PSA, when asked about the PSA, he said, "It's pants." It's pants, which is a very rude thing to say if you don't know that expression. And it was quite a shock to hear it from somebody in such authority. And then he explained why. And one of the chief reasons is he said they have no power to actually have educational standards. He said the Health and Care Professions Council does. It can actually stop, legally stop, schools, colleges, institutions that are just giving away weekend courses from doing this. And we would agree with the profession, the professional standards, and they would be absolutely those that would be enshrined in law. If you're not legally statutory, the word statutory means it's sorted out in law. You then cannot, you then cannot just start a weekend school and say that you're a practitioner who's got plenty of experience when you haven't. So that's a key point. We do need education. Regulation will get us there, but not the kind of regulation that's being promised here in the UK. And we do, I agree with Gerd completely, we need agreement right across Europe, in all member states, from all the TCM practitioners about what that looks like. Because if we all speak with one voice, then the governments right across the whole, they're dividing and conquering at the moment, and we can't really afford that. Thank you.
Can I just say something about Sanpei's comments there? I think for me the key word there was this word serious. And then I think we know where our background is in medical training, we know where we stand in our own heads in the world of medicine. And the problem is that the outside world don't have the same perception of that seriousness. And if I could just give one example of this. A few years ago, a major university in the UK decided to set up a bachelor's degree in Chinese medicine. And I found out that after 1 year, the students had had no tuition in Chinese medicine whatsoever. They'd had some Qigong lessons, and that was all. The university hadn't got teaching facilities, clinical teaching facilities set up, and they also hadn't got the accreditation of the course from the British Acupuncture Council. So they were actually major universities setting up a degree in Chinese medicine, and they don't take it seriously themselves. Because you've got to say, if they were setting up a medical school, if they were setting up a dental school, would they be taking on students with no lecturers in their subject, and with no clinical training, and no accreditation in place? So even the universities who are looking into it and should be taking it seriously, if the universities don't take it seriously as the same seriousness of modern medicine, then we can't move forward. It's so important that first we establish in the public eye the seriousness of what we do. That's my set.
There are so many things to do to come to an official medicine integrated into the health system. It's on education level, it's on political regulation level, it's on organizational level. And so I think 40 years of planning ahead should be the best way. But we have to do steps and to be open enough to accept the standards, the high standards, and just to understand what's necessary to join the state health processes. And this is for a practitioner usually not very easy, because he sees his patients and his own situation. But we have to look on larger scales and to see what we really want to achieve in the next decades.
I forgot to introduce you one more important issue in Belgium. The person who wants to practice TCM must be registered in one association recognized by the Ministry of Public Health. The importance of this registration is that if you are a member of these associations, then you have medical insurance. Because otherwise you are not able to have your medical insurance. That's point one. Second is that the person who can practice acupuncture must have basic medical educations. For example, medical doctors, dentist, midwife, nurse, etc. So I'm not against people who are not non-medical doctors who practice in TCM. I'm not against that, because we also came from non-medical background. However, you do need some medical educations. That is the most important. Thanks to the European Association of TCM, he and Wei Chang structures are in the board. They are the board members. They are doing serious job, because I have seen the task is to offer or to standardize the educational level. It's serious. However, the question and the reality is that who accept this proposal? And it's not forced by law, but they are still doing this job. That is wonderful. And those gentlemen are also doing wonderful jobs. However, I still see one dark point, which is very dark, that sometimes registration is too weak, too soft for those people who can be registered. It's not serious. That is the dark point I want to change. I hope that you understand.
Just briefly, I think in the UK, maybe the law or the legal system background is different from the situation in Belgium or other European countries. Basically, I think for when we talk about the advantage of statutory regulation, for me, come from China, and for a lot of Chinese practitioners, we know the situation in China. To practice Chinese medicine, you have to get a license based on at least a bachelor degree level. Yeah. So I think statutory regulation at least is good for the profile of TCM, for the reputation, of course, and that's I think that's why I'm always in favor of statutory regulation. So I feel it's strongly in the UK. If we are not a statutory regulator, basically we are nothing. I still remember exactly 20 years ago, when I first came to the UK, I got my first acupuncture license from the local council. On my license, I says to entitled to practice acupuncture, and then a few other words: tattoo, body piercing, and the acupuncture. They left the acupuncture there, and they just cross off the other two words. So acupuncture was deemed as tattoo, as body piercing in this country. So that's very low profile. I felt ashamed, really. Yeah. I was a doctor, and now I do something like tattoo here.
We have one more question for...
Sorry, I'm from Portugal. Seems you know that Portugal already has regular law, and acupuncture at this moment start the registration. I just want to say something. It's for me very strange that people don't realize we need to study more. I'm from a school that has 5 years course and then clinical practice in China. All these students here that finish the course in that school have more than 5 years studying Chinese medicine. Okay? And they have formation in medical subjects. My question is, I cannot understand. In Portugal, we always work to talk about Chinese medicine. Here I heard about herbal medicine and Chinese medicine. Why to separate this? And another thing, I believe in China there is no herbal medicine, but a Tcm course with specialty in internal medicine that people use, material medical and prescriptions. We, Westerns in Europe, always call it phytotherapy. Why? This make that, as you said, herbal medicine. We have Western herbal medicine, and the people from Western herbal medicine want to do what you call herbal Chinese medicine, without knowledge. We have this problem in Portugal, we solve it, because we find good people in the government. Why to separate? Why to broken Chinese medicine?
You are right, it should call Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, or Chinese medicine. It's including herbs and mineralized animal products, whatever. But people here, we start with maybe a little bit weak to start. So we're afraid to say we are using any other non-herbal products to use. We're just frightened of that. That's why we call as a herbalist. So that is, I think that somehow need to be corrected before the regulation.
We have a big work.
Can I just interrupt?
We have a big work in Portugal to start to stop with phytotherapy and to start to call Chinese pharmacopoeia. Okay, we have to explain this to the members of government. So it's not because of, if you call pharmacopoeia, you are not saying that is herbal or is animal or is mineral. You just call pharmacopoeia. Okay? You don't need to say what is.
Unfortunately, here in the UK,